You know when you are heading into a fragrance department, you almost can smell it before you even walk through the door. That soft, invisible cloud that instantly tells you, I'm in my element. What new journey can I go on today? Walking into any store that sells fragrance, it's like stepping into a dream. Every bottle, it has a story. Every fragrance, a beautiful recipe, or some not so beautiful. But as Tom Ford once said, you can live a moment in life with one scent, and you can live the same moment with a different scent and have a completely different reaction. Scent alters mood, and it's incredibly important to alter your mood. And he's right. Before you know it, you're on a scent journey that can lift your mood, spark a memory, or make you fall in love with life again. The fragrance floor sent drifting through the air, testers being grabbed and sprayed, each one held up like a little piece of just, what's going to happen when I wear this? As if this bottle might be the one thing that makes everything, especially right now, just a little bit better. And somewhere in the middle of all of it are the associates, the managers, and the customers, each one moving with a purpose, working the plan of the day, checking off the list, chasing goals, because here, fragrance isn't just a product. It's literally the heartbeat of the store. Welcome back to Sorry, It's Discontinued, where we're going to peel back the layers of luxury retail and celebrate the people who bring it to life. I'm Hilary, and today we're stepping into one of the most glamorous, high-energy, and secretly competitive worlds in beauty, where retail warriors have a lot to tackle. Fragrance, where one fragrance, it can literally change everything. So have a seat and let's get into it. Sorry. It's discontinued. There's nothing quite like the fragrance floor. It's a living, breathing occasion where confidence, chaos, and smells, beautiful smells, all mingle together in one beautiful cloud of scent. Every brand, every bottle, it has a purpose. Of course, money is the lifeblood of the fragrance floor, but you don't get that far without emotion. Every sale, it starts with a feeling. Are you a fragrance nerd? Are you someone who loves perfume, loves the different stories and brands, loves to style or layer fragrance? The story behind the bottle, the memory it can stir, it's powerful when you think about it. Wedding days, anniversaries, the scent of someone you've loved or lost, like your mom, your dad, grandparents, people who've really influenced your life. Fragrance and scent memory are incredible. Look around and you'll see the whole symphony in motion just on a fragrance floor. It's remarkable. Music's floating through the speakers. Customers are waving blotter strips to calm the scent, so you don't really have to wave the card. There's also people sniffing coffee beans, looking for coffee beans, because someone once claimed it clears your nose palate, which it doesn't. That's actually a myth. It was found that scent molecules from the coffee beans will create a layer of scent on your nose and affect the next fragrance you smell, so it won't be as accurate. Anyway, so don't smell coffee. Smell your clothes, smell your skin, smell a tissue. Just grab a clean tissue off the cosmetic floor. And if you smell that, that actually works better. So I found that out when I worked for Tom Ford. He refused to have any coffee beans around his fragrances because it would just mess with your scent. So back to the cosmetic and fragrance department. Somewhere across the department, there's always an associate who might just be spraying the air just to make sure that their fragrance, the one customers smell first, almost like part theater. And through the day, working in fragrance, it can also feel like an endurance test. 1 minute, you're explaining the difference between eau de parfum, eau de toilette, and the next, you're keeping an eye out for your loyal customer or making sure another associate isn't getting a little too close to your counter. Don't come on my side. Don't cross into my territory. Stay in your corner. And yet, for those of us who've worked there, it's electric. The floor there's a rhythm to it. It's like an unspoken choreography that keeps everyone moving. You're going, you spray, you smile, you sell, and repeat. You start to notice patterns. You see regulars who come in every week because they want to smell something new, which fragrance, especially after COVID, it really became true retail therapy. A lot of people who have high stress jobs will come into the fragrance department and cosmetics and just go on scent journeys. I've met so many. And every scent will take them to a new adventure. And you can do a deep dive. So many people know this now, of course, with bloggers and vloggers and all of these scent influencers talking about the new it fragrance or what they've experienced. So people really come in and follow this list that they have of all these fragrances they want to try. And what's incredible is that you can find a lot of them now in department stores. I mean, the very small, very, very niche brands, those are harder to come by, but a lot of the niche brands that have been growing, like your Amouage or of course, your Creeds and Initio and so on, you can find in a lot of these department stores, even in Dillard's for some of these brands. So this retail therapy has grown tremendously. Aside from the customers, you notice the associates or the managers. They're walking by and everybody's kind of watching because fragrance, it is the heartbeat of the store. This is the sole moneymaker of a lot of these department stores. So your manager might give you that subtle look of, are you going to hit your numbers today? How's it going? Because a lot of these bigger brands, the stores rely on them hitting the goals. So, of course, you want to see the vendors and the brand support coming in, spotlighting their brand to help support associates to achieve these goals, and chatting up every customer because that's what they're good at. Sitting people down so they can share their fragrances and take them on a scent journey. Fragrance associates are part performer, if you will. They're therapists in a way. They're also part storytellers. They have to create these invisible emotions and this storytelling while also chasing their daily goals and make it look and feel natural so you don't feel like you're being sold to because they don't want you to feel like that. They want you to feel like you're a part of an amazing experience because it can be. But chasing these daily goals and fragrance, it almost seems like these goals are multiplying faster. Of course, every season, you've got to beat LY. You've got to hit that increase. So fun fact, niche fragrances have become one of the fastest growing categories in luxury beauty. In 2024, it ranked as the top performing prestige beauty segment in the US. Sales up 12% year over year. The global luxury fragrance market is currently valued at $22.6 billion with a B and projected to hit $34.4 billion by 2030. Crazy. Proof that it is not going to slow down anytime soon. So the next time you walk by a fragrance counter, remember, behind every bottle is a team driven by passion and chaos. It can be tiring, but God, do you just love it? So if you've ever worked fragrance, you know the competition. It can be very fierce, especially in certain department stores. It also can be kind of fabulous. It's like a love it and hate it combination. There's this unspoken rule on the floor. You have to protect your space, protect your brand, almost like department store diplomacy, if you will. You've got to stay away from my corner. Don't stand in front of my display and my testers handing out your fragrance brand. Oh, no, you didn't. So this diplomacy, you have to create relationships with the different teams and different people in the department. You guys know this. And look out for each other. I like to highlight other brands if customers are not interested in the brand that I'm showing. I will recommend other lines. That's just workplace etiquette. It's respect. Plus, then they do it for me. But associates are always keeping an eye on their territory. You've got to watch your display cases and your moving testers are back into place and cleaning and making sure everything is set up. You always have to make sure it's clean, especially when you're setting up and showing these really expensive fragrances. But it's not always easy. Someone might even leave a fragrance blotter card on your counter, maybe a little trail that has happened. And it actually will highlight their fragrance line. Are they doing it on purpose? I don't know. Maybe. But then you could also be in mid-conversation with a customer and another associate will walk by and they hand their blotter card to your client just in case they haven't smelled their new fragrance. It's subtly annoying. They're being aggressive because they have aggressive goals. But stay in your territory. You don't want to be too aggressive and too obvious, but that happens a lot. Gifts with purchase are another battlefield. The best bags or candles or travel sprays, it can completely shift a sale. If your brand has the better bonus, it's a major advantage. So lucky when you're standing there and you don't have as many of the goodies and you're at these other lines that are next to you and they have all of these amazing things. But the fragrance, the story, and how it makes the client feel, that's the end game. So through it all, the glances and goals and the constant motion, fragrance is big business. And fragrance associates, you have to know your brand inside and out. You have to learn every note, every story, every goal that you have to keep to keep your fragrance brand relevant. So yeah, fragrance wars, competition, it is not friendly all the time. It's very strategic. Major luxury houses like Chanel and Dior, Gucci, Tom Ford, Yves Saint Laurent are constantly working to maintain their positions at the top of an industry that keeps expanding year after year. So through it all, the goals and the constant motion, there's a sense of pride that fragrance associates have. You have to know your brands inside out. You have to learn every note and every story. Well, continually thinking about the goal, even though you don't want to think about the goal. But there is true pressure there. So Fragrance wars, it sounds dramatic, but it can be real. Competition, it's not always friendly, especially placement and where brands are sitting in department stores, where they're located. It's real estate. So major luxury houses, they're constantly working to maintain their positions at the top of an industry. It just keeps expanding year after year to stay relevant. Global fragrance sales are continuing to climb, and the pressure to launch new scents, maintain visibility, outperform competitors, it's constant. You cannot stop. And on the sales floor, that competition, it's just as intense. A single department store, they can carry over 400 fragrances at a time. And that number can increase during major seasons like the holidays, limited edition scents. And each fragrance and each brand has goals and expectations. Associates are expected to know them all while hitting their daily and monthly sales targets. So it's not just about one launch or a record-breaking day. You have to keep your brand relevant. Your counter has to be clean and sharp. And that's what makes the difference for your customers to come back. It can really drive business when you know your stuff. So while the floor is full of fragrances and strategies, the fragrance industry underneath has grown into one of beauty's most profitable and competitive categories. The global fragrance market, it was valued at about $56 billion in 2024 and is expected to reach nearly $75 billion by 2030. Growing an average of about 5% each year. That's freaking crazy. That kind of growth has turned fragrance into a key revenue driver for every major beauty conglomerate. Major luxury groups are expanding aggressively too, because they know it'll make a difference at the end of the day. L'Oreal recently acquired Creed, one of the most exclusive niche perfume houses, while Estee Lauder is opening standalone fragrance boutiques in Paris and New York. I think all of this is so fascinating. It really just highlights how big fragrance is. We see it in such a small scale. You're walking into a store and you're seeing these different fragrances and you're on your own personal journey. But look at this expansive global market. And smaller niche artisanal brands are reshaping the landscape too. Once limited to boutique shelves, small stores, they now command premium prices and global wait lists. The niche luxury perfume segment alone was worth more than $2.5 billion in 2024. Crazy. And it continues to outpace the wider market in growth. Fragrance is where it's at. And that's why a lot of these people, celebrities and different people are just like diving in because it is smart business. People do shop with emotion. But let's look at trade and production costs. That has also entered the picture. So in 2025, analysts reported, I'm going to say the word, that import tariffs on luxury goods and perfume components, it led some manufacturers to raise prices by 6 to 7% just to protect their margins. While that may sound like a small adjustment, but the truth is the ripple effects are real. So on the sales floor, higher retail prices, it can slow customer traffic in some of these stores, and it can change buying behavior. So, we've all seen it when you're working behind the counter and you're working in fragrance. Clients are wanting to buy smaller sizes. They're waiting for promotions, or they're splitting purchases between brands and buying, I'll take 4 different travel sizes from 4 different companies. For associates, that can mean stricter sales expectations and more pressure. You have to maintain momentum even when these customers are hesitating. And that can be really challenging when global economics are really affecting your paycheck. Wah, wah, especially when you're on commission with big goals. So from global corporations to independent perfumers, the message can be the same. Fragrance, it's not going to slow down. It's a business built on constant innovation. And the market, it's where success, it depends on staying visible. You have to be agile. You have to be ahead of the next trend. So why all this matters? For all the growth, all the money, and all the launches, fragrance remains one of the most personal categories in beauty. Behind the numbers and global strategies, it still comes down to emotion, especially memory. Okay, so fun fact. Studies show that our sense of smell is directly tied to the limbic system, the part of the brain that controls emotion and memory. That's why when I smell Coco Mademoiselle, I'm instantly taken to hugging my mom. Or I smell an old oil of Olay jar. It reminds me of my grandma. There's always a scent that can instantly take you back. I know when I've been showing fragrances and I'm highlighting it, with a client, there's so many times a customer will say, man, I'm reminded of something. They're smelling this card and it takes them back to a childhood moment or a person, first date. And it's something that you've completely forgotten and it just takes you back. Fragrance doesn't just remind us. It literally returns us to those moments. It connects you to memories and people, to places. And it reminds us who we were in those moments and brings joy in your life. When I'm showing a fragrance, regardless of any brand, I'm looking at the person and I'm watching their face. When they instantly smile after smelling something, you can see that it's just brought them joy. And I ask them, do you want the one that some famous influencer wants you to get? Do you want the one that makes you feel good, that brings you joy? You always want the one that when you're at home and you see it, you're excited to wear it. And you can play around with it with other fragrances. Such a joy with fragrance. So recently I had the chance to visit the Scent Room in Dallas. If you ever get a chance, I've been talking a lot about Dallas. I mean, the Neiman Marcus store, now the Scent Room. So the Scent Room in Dallas, a boutique that literally captures exactly what fragrance journeys should be like. It's thoughtful, it's intimate, it's inspiring. The space, it was just filled with all these brands, some that I'd never encountered before. A lot of people who are fragrance nerds dive in. I dive in a little bit, but not that much. But when I go and I see it in front of me, I want to have that experience. And each fragrance and brand, it had its own story through these different scents. So that's where I discovered Sugar Kisses by an Italian perfumer named Lorenzo Pazzaglia. I apologize if I messed up the name, but this scent, a warm gourmand blend of like chocolate and caramel and soft vanilla. It's the kind of fragrance, it just feels familiar and sweet. And I loved it. I kept going back to it after trying, like 20 different fragrances on. So even the packaging, it stood out to me. I just love the bottle. It has like a little carved owl head on top, like a little piece of art. Oh my gosh, my dog is digging into the chair right now. Just ignore Neo. I apologize. Experiences like that, it just reminds me why fragrance, why this industry, it matters so much. Because for all its size and scale, fragrance is still about discovery and finding that one scent that feels good to you, that makes you happy. So from global brands and to little boutiques in Dallas, fragrance can literally, it just connects us all. And there's just so much creativity and memory to fragrance. So I want to thank all of my perfume retail warriors out there, incredible storytellers, scent lovers, and customers, because retail warriors who live in this chaos, especially getting ready for the holiday season, it is a lot of work. You work your ass off, but you still make it look amazing and smell beautiful. So I really appreciate you all out there. And I thank you all for sitting with me and talking about fragrance today. I just appreciate you so much. So I hope you have a wonderful week, my retail warriors. I love you all so much, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye. Thank you so much for spending time with me behind the counter today. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow Sorry It's Discontinued on your favorite podcast app and leave a quick rating or review. It really helps our retail family and fellow customers find the show. You can also connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Sorry It's Discontinued. And if you have your own behind-the-counter story, a discontinued product heartbreak, or a beauty or retail industry confession, send it my way. Your story, it might be featured in a future episode. You can send me a message at sorryitsdiscontinued.com. Now, this podcast, it's independently produced and is not affiliated with any brands or companies mentioned. All stories and opinions shared are personal, reflecting the real-life experiences of those who've worked in this industry with heart and hustle. Thank you for being here. And remember, as cheesy as it sounds, a smile can really brighten someone's day. Honestly, whether you're behind the counter or shopping in front of it. See you next time. Bye. Sorry. It's discontinued.